What's up guys, DukeSloth here with another short video, and today's topic is what if Knockup could be beaten? Before we start, I'm well aware that Hercules' ability is considered a pull, but the second you're pulled, you're also knocked up, so I included him in before pregnancy jokes. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump right into it. I recently thought a little bit about some abilities that seem a little unfair to others and that could maybe be addressed in a future patch, and I realized that Knockup is still extremely strong on certain characters, and this has a huge impact on the current gameplay. First of all, I created a little Knockup guard tier list. I wanted to show you some in-game stuff, but unfortunately the servers are not really working for me at the moment. There's like issues with some ISPs, stuff is crashing all the time, so I'll just stick with creating this little tier list using the Juice Gaming Smite tier list, and this is specifically for gods that are either good with Knockup or require Knockup in her kit and so on. Starting from the top, we got Willish. Willish is extremely dependent on Knockup because of her ultimate. Her own Knockup is not the strongest in the game because it can only be hit from the side or from behind, but she needs Knockup to set up her ult, and this can be any kind of Knockup or an enemy jump. While it's really important for her, you have to be aware that her ultimate is a pull, and the second she pulls you, you can beat anyways. So in the end, it's pretty irrelevant for her if the enemy can beat a Knockup or if he's gonna beat the moment she ults him. She might get like a slight advantage because of the direction the enemy might already have been pulled in, but it's not gonna make much of a difference, to be honest. So while she's the god most dependent on Knockup, she also doesn't really care if you can beat it or not. Hercules. Hercules is very dependent on his Knockup. He uses his pull to engage in most situations, get you towards him, and then use the stun. You can use the combo the other way around, but this is the standard way, so to say. And there's something you might have seen on Janus. Janus can beat out of you can beat out of Janus portal and effectively walk away with no harm done. You're gonna be reset to the very position you stepped into the portal, and he will most likely miss all his follow-up abilities because he didn't expect you to drop somewhere else than just right down, and you basically take away all of his burst. Hercules Burst, on the other hand, is extremely easy to confirm, and there's not much that you can do to get out of it. You can avoid the stun of his dash after being knocked up by using beats mid-air, but you're still flying in the same direction, you're landing at the same spot, and the main point is the damage, not the CC. So it would have a huge impact on him, still leaving him with the same amount of damage, but potentially increase his skill cap by a lot, or allow more skilled players to counter him better. Moving on to Herbois. Herbois also very dependent on the Knockup, and if you've seen a good Herbois player, what he does is he knocks you up with his 3 and then uses his ult, so there's literally no way for you to get out of it. It's a huge amount of damage that is automatically confirmed the very second he knocks you up. This also feels very strange, as there should be some kind of options to get out of it, some kind of option, and it might be a pleasant change here, even though Herbois is not among the strongest mages at this point. It will not set him back by much anyways, because he still profits from having his burst, and Aegis not being usable under CC anymore, so he can just wait for a teammate to CC and then use his ultimate. Kumbhakana. Kumbhakana, kind of a special case here. His ultimate being a Knockup is very, very important to him, but I'd kind of put him towards the side here, simply because while he is using a knockup, it would probably, if there was a change to knockups and the interaction with beats, it would probably stay the same way. It'd probably be something like Najad, like the second you get knocked up, you can't get out anymore, because it's an ultimate mechanic that works kind of different. So these are the guards that are most dependent on any kind of knockup, and that would be most affected by changes as well. I just realized that I missed out on another guard here, and that is Tyr. Tyr is one of those guards that definitely depends on knockup, and would actually face some issues when it can be cancelled. Simply because the moment he gets his combo off, he has a large amount of confirmed damage, and if you could beat out after the first hit on his knockup, it would set him back by a lot. He would probably need some kind of compensation in case of a change to 2 beats, though it might be of another nature than what it is now. Moving on to the S tier. Here we got Shark. Shark is knockup on his ultimate when there's an X around, so it's a pretty situational knockup, but it is a very strong one as such. It adds on top of the silence, allows AoE damage that can be used by that can be abused by other teammates, so it's pretty good on him. Not that important, but still pretty good. Same going for Bacchus. Bacchus has one of his main CC abilities in his jump, knocking the enemy up. This is his confirmed CC, different from his Belch that has the long charging time. Therefore, also very good on him. The knockup itself is not that long though. Gap, same thing here. His knockup in his standard ability, not his ultimate. Also not very long, not too much you can do while an enemy is knocked up, but still an essential part of his kit. Vulcan. Vulcan, around maybe even S tier, S plus tier. Not quite sure about it, but he still has a lot of damage that he can get off without his knockup anyways. The fact that his knockup prevents melees from getting close to him, because he can just knock them away all the time if he plays well, makes cooldown reduction Vulcan extremely strong in 1 versus 1 situations. Sylvanas, same as the other Guardians, more of a setup for him. Difference here is that his knockup is in his ultimate, and he has other forms of CC on top of that that are kinda more useful in many situations. His ult being similar to Gab's, it can just like, usually you won't have 3 enemies that get beats just to cancel Sylvanas' ult anyways, if that was possible. The same as there wouldn't be 3 people having beats just to cancel Gap's ult. Would be a very particular situation, which is why I just put it S minus. Then we have the A tier, and her the knockup is not really that important on him. Could easily be a stun as well. It's an essential part of his kit. It makes him scary, but it's not really important what kind of hard CC it is, to be honest. Sun Wukong, knockup is in his 72 transformations on the bull. Same thing here. He doesn't get too much out of knocking an enemy up. It's okay. It's a setup for other abilities in terms of just hitting them, but wouldn't change much if it was any other kind of hard CC. Poseidon, by the time he knocks you up, he has most of his damage confirmed. This is what happens when you get hit by the Kraken. You also get stunned at the same time anyways, so it's probably more of a visual thing if you ask me. Won't get too much out of it. If you beat, you probably did it before to get out of his whirlpool anyways. Not a deciding factor for him either. Vamana, also not very affected by it. The knockup helps him get away in some situations, but it's not a huge setup or anything. It's not an essential part of his kit, not an important part. Any other kind of CC would just do the same thing, and if you could cancel it, it wouldn't matter too much. Kukulkan, even less important here, simply because the enemies are knocked away in a fashion that can actually be unhelpful for him, and basically his whole kit doesn't depend on displacing the enemy or anything like that, and by the time he uses his ult, he usually has most of his damage confirmed already and has the enemy on low health anyways. And then we have AO Quang. AO Quang even less affected by it because his knockup works in a different way too. So basically you can already beat it as of now in the animation before it goes off completely, and it wouldn't really change anything for him. So summing this up, the S tier guards are those that would really be affected in case a knockup could be cancelled out by beats. And this is a very interesting thing because especially Hercules is a character that a lot of players still struggle with, simply because he has so much damage that is so easy to confirm, and there's so little you can do against it, and his burst early is so strong. Sure, you can counterplay him. I'm not saying he's OP or anything, but or maybe am I? Anyways, it would change a lot for him, and Hercules players would have to make better decisions as to which ability to use first, and so on and so on. Same goes for Herbois. Herbois could struggle a bit too much, but then again, I never found it to be a fair situation where his knockup would just take you out and stop you from having any chance against his ultimate. Tyr, like I said, he would probably need some kind of compensation now that he only has one knockup. At the same time, I'd find it very fair to be able to get out of that one knockup, because the amount of damage he can deal with that is still very, very scary early, and I think Tyr will see a lot more play in soon anyways. So I wouldn't really mind those characters getting a few more options to counterplay. Willish would have some problems too, because some characters would just beat out right away and she would probably blow her ult, but then again, like I said, it doesn't really make a difference because you could always beat her ult. It's just a little time that you lose there. The rest of these characters would have, like, they would feel the impact of it, but it wouldn't change their gameplay, it wouldn't change their tier probably. They'd probably be around the same tier in terms of conquest meta, and Herbois might actually see a little drop in the joust meta because of it, and even that wouldn't be too problematic because he's very, very high up because of his chain of abilities that you can't do anything against. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and if you have any idea on what topic I could talk about next in the What If series, just let me know in the comments. That's it from me for now. DukeSloth out.